Does God exist? This talk of mine is mainly for 4 categories of people. Number 1, for those who do not believe in the existence of God. And when I was reading the national census of South Korea, which was done in 2006, in the statistic that was mentioned, that 46.9% of the South Koreans do not believe in a religion, do not believe in God. Religion, according to Oxford Dictionary, means a belief in a superhuman controlling power, a personal God or gods that deserve worship. So according to the national census of 2006 of South Korea, 46.9% of the South Koreans do not believe in a religion, do not believe in God. So first type of people this talk is addressed to is this 46.9% of the South Koreans, those who do not believe in God, the atheists. The second category of people to which this talk of mine is addressed is to those who have a doubt regarding the existence of God. They aren't sure regarding the existence of God, or they are silent. They can be called as agnostics. And the same national census of South Korea in 2006 said that Buddhists were 22.8%. And non-Buddhists, they were 0.2%. Both put together, approximately 23%. And Buddha never spoke about God. He was silent. He did not comment whether there was God, or he did not comment there was no God. He was silent, more of an agnostic. Though I know many Buddhists have made a God out of him, but if you read the scriptures, the Dhammapada and the Buddhist scriptures, it is more of an agnostic religion. As far as God is there, there's no particular concept of God like which is there in the religions like Judaism, Christianity, Islam, etc. So second category of people are the agnostic, or those who are not sure about the existence of God, or those who are silent regarding the existence of God. And even Confucianism, in the census, 0.3% are Confucius people, somewhat similar, more of an ethical religion. So all put together, about 23.3%. The third category to which my talk is addressed today is to those people who believe in God but may not have the correct concept of God. They believe in God but do not have a correct concept of God. So this talk of mine, inshallah, will convey to them the correct concept of God, inshallah. And the national census of 2006 of South Korea tells us that 18.3% of the South Korean population, they are Protestant. And 10.9% are Catholics. Both put together is 29.2% are Christians. My talk is addressed to them also. And 0.5% are other religions. The fourth category to whom my talk is addressed is to those people who believe in God and have the correct concept of God, but may not be able to convince the first 3 categories regarding the existence of God or regarding the correct concept of God. And I'm told that out of these 0.5% of the South Koreans who have other religions, majority of them are Muslims, maybe 0.3 to 0.4%. I'm told over 150,000 to 200,000 people in Korea are Muslims. So in this talk, I'll be addressing the atheists, the agnostics, the people who believe in God but don't have the correct concept of God, and those people who have the correct concept of God will tell them how to prove to the first 3 categories regarding the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of Almighty God, and about the correct concept of Allah. Whenever I meet an atheist who does not believe in the existence of God, the first thing I do is I congratulate him. People may wonder, why is Zakir congratulating an atheist? The reason I congratulate the atheist is because he's thinking. Most of the other people, he is a Christian because father is a Christian. He is a Jew because father is a Jew. He is a Hindu because father is a Hindu. Many Muslims are Muslim because father is a Muslim. This atheist is thinking. And he says there is no God. The reason I congratulate him is because he has said the first part of the Islamic Shahada, the first part of the Islamic creed, La ilaha, there is no God. So the only thing I have to do is illallah, but Allah, which I shall do inshallah. And then Muhammad Rasulullah, the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, is the messenger of Allah. To the other non-Muslims, first I have to prove to them that the God they are worshipping is wrong. And then prove to them about the correct concept of God. Here, half my job is done. He's already said the first part of the Islamic creed, first part of the Islamic Shahada, La ilaha, there is no God. So half my job is done. It becomes easier for me to convince the atheist as compared to convincing a person who believes in the wrong God. Whenever I meet the atheist, I ask him, what is the definition of God? For anyone to say that so-and-so thing does not exist, he should know the definition of so-and-so. If he does not know the definition of so-and-so, he cannot say so-and-so doesn't exist. So if anyone says God does not exist, he should know the definition of God, otherwise he cannot say God does not exist. For example, if I say this is a book, for anyone to say this is not a book, he should know the definition of a book. If he does not know the definition of a book, he cannot say this is not a book. Some people may argue and say, no, if I know the definition of the thing you are asking, I need not know the definition of a book. For example, if I say, this is a kalam. For you to say this is not a kalam, you have to know the definition of kalam. Somebody will tell me, no, Brother Zakir, I know this is a pen. So because I know this is a pen, I need not know the definition of a kalam, and I can say this is not a kalam. This logic is not correct. Most of the time it may be correct, but not always. For you to say this is not a kalam, you have to know the definition of kalam. Only by knowing this is a pen, your answer saying that this is not a kalam because I know this is a pen, your answer sometimes may be wrong, sometimes may be right. Because kalam means in Arabic and Urdu a pen. Kalam in Arabic means pen, kalam in Urdu also means pen. So if you did not know the definition of kalam, you say, no, this is not kalam, this is a pen. That is the reason, logically, for you to say, this is not a kalam, you should know the definition of kalam. You may know this is a pen, but the moment you come to know kalam and pen is same, then you will not say this is not a kalam. Then you say, yes, this is a kalam. Therefore, to say so-and-so thing doesn't exist, you should know the definition of so-and-so. So similarly, when an atheist says God does not exist, first thing I ask him, what is the definition of God? If he doesn't know the definition of God, he cannot say God doesn't exist. You know why? The atheist, he sees around himself that the God the other people are worshipping, that God requires to eat, that God requires rest, that God requires sleep, the God requires help, the God that can die. He says, I don't believe in such a God. Maybe having parents who are religious, maybe having friends who are religious, but his mind, his logic doesn't accept that how can someone who requires to eat like me, someone who requires to sleep like me, someone who requires rest like me, that person can be God. How can a person be a God who requires help? How can a person be a God who can die? So that's the reason he says, I do not believe in God. For example, if someone tells me, I do not believe in Islam, which is the religion of terrorism. I do not believe in Islam, which is a religion against human rights. I do not believe in Islam, which is a religion which is against the rights of women. I do not believe in Islam, which is an illogical religion. I do not believe in Islam, which is an unscientific religion. I tell him, even I do not believe in Islam if it is a religion of terrorism. Even I do not believe in Islam if it is a religion against human rights. Even I do not believe in Islam if it's a religion against the rights of women. Even I do not believe in Islam if it's an illogical religion. Even I don't believe in Islam if it's an unscientific religion. But I know the correct concept of Islam. What he's doing, he's rejecting the false concept of Islam, which is propagated by the media. This person, this non-Muslim, he's against the pseudo-Islam. The Islam which is spread by the media, which is not the correct definition of Islam. I will tell him, but I know Islam. That's the reason I believe in Islam, which is a religion against terrorism. And one verse of the Quran is sufficient to prove my point. It's mentioned in the Quran in Surah Ma'idah chapter 5 verse number 32. That if anyone kills any other human being, unless it be for murder or for spreading corruption in the land, it is as though he has killed the whole of humanity. And if anyone saves a single human being, it is as though he has saved the whole nation. So Quran says if any human being, whether Muslim or non-Muslim, kills any other innocent human being, whether Muslim or non-Muslim, it is as though he has killed the whole of humanity. And if any human being saves any other human being, it is as though he has saved the whole of nation. This one verse of the Quran, which is the cornerstone of Islam, which Islam is based on, is sufficient to prove that Islam is against terrorism. There is no other religion on the face of the earth which has this statement. There is no other philosophical book on the face of the earth, I am a student of comparative religion, which says that if you kill one innocent human being, you have killed the whole of humanity. And if you save one human being, you have saved the whole of humanity. I believe in Islam because I know Islam is not a religion against human rights. It's mentioned in the Quran in Surah Hujurat chapter 49 verse number 13. It says, Ya ayyuhan nasu inna khalaqnakum zakran wa unsa wa jalnakum shu'uban wa qaba'ila lita'arafu inna akramakum indallahi atqakum inna Allaha alimun khabir. O humankind, we have created you for a single pair of male and female and have divided you into nations and tribes so that you shall recognize each other, not that you shall despise each other. And the most honored in the sight of Almighty God is the person who has taqwa. The only criteria for judgment. In Islam, no human being is superior to the other human being because of sex, because of wealth, because of age, because of color. The only way you are superior is by taqwa. It is by God consciousness. It's by righteousness. It's by piety. This is talking about human rights. I believe in Islam because I know Islam is a religion which gives rights to the woman. I've given a talk on women's rights in Islam, which throws a lot of detail on this topic. I believe in Islam because I know Islam is a religion which is a logical religion. Therefore it says that will not the men of understanding take heed? Will they not then believe? Afala yuminun? I believe in Islam because Islam is the most scientific religion, which I discuss in my talk. So this non-Muslim who is influenced by the media is rejecting the wrong picture of Islam, which even I reject. The media is bombarding misconceptions about Islam, which I dealt yesterday in the city of Daejeon on the topic misconception about Islam. The same way these atheists, because they do not know the correct concept of God, they are rejecting the concept of God which is prevalent in most part of the world, that God requires to eat, God requires to rest, God requires to sleep. God requires help. God is not capable of everything. God doesn't know. God that can die. So he's rejecting the false God, La ilaha, which is the first part of the Islamic Shahada, that there is no God. The second part is Illallah, which I shall do inshallah. The first thing I'll do is, I will present to him the correct concept of God. The best reply that any Muslim can give regarding the concept of Almighty God, regarding the concept of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is quote Surah Ikhlas, chapter number 112, verse number 1 to 4, which says, Kul huwallahu ahad. Say, He is Allah, one and only. Allahu samad. Allah, the absolute and eternal. Lam yalid wa lam yulad. He begets not, nor is he begotten. Walam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. There is nothing like him. This is a four-line definition of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala given in the glorious Quran. If any candidate you say is God, if that candidate fits in this four-line definition, we Muslims have got no objection in accepting that candidate as God. The first is, Kul wallahu ahad. Say there's Allah one and only. Allahu samad. Allah, the absolute eternal. Lam yalid wa lam yulad. He begets not, nor is he begotten. Walam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. There is nothing like him. This is a four-line definition of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of Almighty God, given in the glorious Quran. Any person saying that so-and-so candidate is God, if that candidate fits in this four-line definition, we Muslims have got no objection in accepting that candidate as God. This Surah Ikhlas is the litmus test. It is the touchstone of theology. Theo means God, logy means study, theology means study of God. Surah Ikhlas is the touchstone of theology. You may be knowing the meaning of a touchstone. If you want to buy or sell gold jewelry, what do? You go to a goldsmith, and the goldsmith verifies how pure the gold is. He takes your gold jewelry and rubs it against a stone called as touchstone. Depending upon the color, he tells you that this is 24 karat gold. Or he may say it is 18 karat gold. Or he may say it is 16 karat gold. Or he may say it is not gold at all, because all that glitters is not gold. Surah Ikhlas is the touchstone of theology. Whichever God you are worshipping, put him to the test of Surah Ikhlas. If that God passes the test, he is a true God, otherwise he is a false God.